The Triforce doesn't grant wishes. Not really. What it actually does is far more terrifying, and A Link to the Past is the only game that shows players what happens when someone with an evil heart touches it. The result isn't just power, it's corruption on a cosmic scale, an entire dimension twisted into a nightmare reflection of one person's malice. And here's what most players miss. The Triforce in A Link to the Past isn't just a prize to claim or a power source to tap. It's a mirror, a judgment, a transformation engine that reveals the true nature of whoever seeks it and forces that nature onto reality itself. This changes everything about how the Triforce actually works. Most players think they understand the Triforce. 3 golden triangles representing power, wisdom, and courage, left behind by the goddesses Din, Nehru, and Furore when they created Hyrule. Touch all 3 pieces and make a wish. Simple, right? That's how later games present it. In Ocarina of Time, the Triforce splits when Ganondorf touches it because his heart isn't balanced. In Wind Waker, reassembling the Triforce becomes the central quest. Skyward Sword treats it as the ultimate reward for completing the goddess's trials. These games position the Triforce as a magical artifact. Powerful, certainly, but ultimately just an object that grants wishes to whoever claims it. A Link to the Past reveals something far more complex and far more dangerous. The game's opening sequence establishes the backstory through text crawl, explaining that after the 3 goddesses created the land, they left behind the Triforce in the Sacred Realm. But here's the crucial detail that gets overlooked. The Triforce wasn't just left as a reward or a power source. It was left as a reflection of divine will, a fragment of the goddess's creative power, and that distinction matters enormously. The game explains that when people discovered the existence of the Sacred Realm and the Triforce within, a great war erupted. Greed consumed the land as warriors and sorcerers fought to claim the golden power. The bloodshed became so intense that the King of Hyrule ordered 7 wise men to seal the entrance to the Sacred Realm, ending the war and hiding the Triforce from mortal reach. For generations, the location of the Sacred Realm faded into legend. Peace returned. The Triforce became myth. Then, Ganondorf Dragmire discovered the entrance. The game describes him as a powerful thief and leader of a band of cutthroats. What happened next reveals the Triforce's true nature, and it's not what players expect. Ganondorf didn't just walk in and claim power, he murdered his own followers to ensure he alone would touch the Triforce. This wasn't strategic pragmatism, this was a test. The Triforce responds to the heart of whoever touches it, and Ganondorf's heart was pure malice. He craved domination. He desired to reshape reality according to his twisted vision. He wanted to corrupt, to rule, to transform everything into an extension of his will. When Ganondorf touched the complete Triforce, it granted his wish, but not in the way he expected. The Sacred Realm itself transformed. The golden land of the goddesses became the Dark World, a twisted nightmare dimension where everything reflects Ganondorf's evil nature. Lush forests became dead wasteland. Crystal clear lakes turned to poison. The very air grew thick with malevolence. And here's the critical part. Everyone who entered this transformed realm changed to reflect their true nature. Good-hearted people became monsters. The wicked became demons. The Sacred Realm became a mirror that forced truth onto everyone within it, and that truth was filtered through Ganondorf's corruption. This is fundamentally different from how other games portray the Triforce's power. In Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf gains the Triforce of Power and uses it to conquer Hyrule, but Hyrule itself doesn't transform. Castletown becomes overrun with redeads and monsters, but that's the result of Ganondorf's armies and 7 years of misrule, not a fundamental alteration of reality. The land suffers under his reign, but it remains recognizably Hyrule. In Wind Waker, the Triforce gets used to wish for Hyrule's destruction and then later for restoration, but these are discrete, intentional wishes. In Skyward Sword, touching the Triforce is portrayed as the ultimate achievement, something only the worthy can accomplish. A Link to the Past presents the Triforce as reactive rather than passive. It doesn't simply grant wishes like a genie in a bottle. It transforms reality to match the dominant will pressing against it. Ganondorf didn't wish for the Sacred Realm to become the Dark World. That transformation was the Triforce reflecting his heart back onto the dimension around him. The golden power became a corruption engine, forcing Ganondorf's nature onto everything in the Sacred Realm. The Triforce showed what happens when evil touches divinity, and the result was catastrophic environmental and spiritual devastation. This has profound implications for understanding what the Triforce actually is. It's not a tool, it's a conduit for divine creative power, the same power the goddesses used to shape Hyrule from chaos. When Din cultivated the land and created the Red Earth, when Nehru gave the spirit of law to the world, when Furor created all life, that was the power of creation itself, shaping reality according to divine will. The Triforce contains that same power, but without the goddess's inherent goodness to guide it. It's raw creation energy that takes the shape of whatever will touches it. A balanced heart might create harmony. A courageous heart might inspire heroism. But an evil heart creates hell. The game reinforces this through its portrayal of the Dark World's effects on people. When Link first enters the Dark World without the Moon Pearl, he transforms into a helpless pink rabbit. This isn't a curse Ganondorf hast, it's the Dark World revealing Link's true nature filtered through its corruption. The rabbit form represents vulnerability and innocence, Link's actual state as a young person thrust into circumstances beyond his control. With the Moon Pearl, Link maintains his form because the magical protection prevents the Dark World from imposing its revelation upon him. But other people aren't so lucky. The game shows that anyone who enters the Dark World transforms based on their true nature. A greedy person becomes a monster obsessed with hoarding. A fearful person becomes something that embodies that fear. The Dark World doesn't create these transformations arbitrarily. It reveals what was already inside, twisted through the lens of Ganondorf's malevolence. This makes the Triforce something far more dangerous than a simple wish-granting artifact. It's a cosmic amplifier that takes the essence of whoever wields it and forces that essence onto reality. The Sacred Realm became the Dark World because Ganondorf's evil was so overwhelming that it corrupted divine space itself. The Triforce didn't corrupt the realm, Ganondorf did, using the Triforce as a medium. The artifact served as a transformer, converting his spiritual malice into physical alteration of reality. Consider what this means for the broader Zelda timeline. A Link to the Past takes place in the Downfall timeline, according to Hyrulean Historia, the branch where the hero of time failed to defeat Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time. That failure led to Ganondorf obtaining the complete Triforce and being sealed away in the Sacred Realm with it, which became the Dark World. The imprisoning war that A Link to the Past references in its backstory is the direct result of that sealing. Ganondorf, now transformed into Ganon through his possession of the Triforce, corrupted the Sacred Realm over time, and when knights tried to seal him away, the Golden Land had already become a nightmare dimension. This retroactive connection, established by the official timeline, reveals something crucial. The Dark World exists because Ganon spent years, possibly centuries, in the Sacred Realm with the complete Triforce. His continuous contact with the artifact, his unending malice pressing against divine power, gradually transformed the realm. It wasn't an instant corruption, it was a slow poisoning, like pollution seeping into pristine water. The longer Ganon possessed the Triforce, the more thoroughly his nature imprinted itself onto the Sacred Realm. By the time of A Link to the Past's main events, the transformation was complete and irreversible without divine intervention. The game also reveals something subtle about the Triforce's power through the 7 maidens who are descendants of the 7 wise men who sealed the Sacred Realm. These maidens possess inherent magical power tied to the seal keeping Ganon imprisoned in the Dark World. When Aghanim captures them and sends them to the Dark World, he's not just gathering magical energy, he's breaking the seal that keeps Ganon contained. But here's the deeper implication. These maidens exist because the Triforce's presence in Hyrule created a need for guardians. The 7 wise men weren't just arbitrarily powerful, they were chosen or called by the land itself, a response to the Triforce's presence in the world and the danger it represented. This suggests the Triforce doesn't just affect whoever touches it, its mere existence shapes the spiritual landscape of Hyrule. the need for a hero, the existence of a princess with magical powers, the line of sages and wise men, all of these emerge as responses to the Triforce's presence in the world. The artifact creates a gravitational pull in the spiritual realm, drawing forth champions, guardians, and yes, villains who seek its power. The Triforce isn't passive even when untouched. It exerts influence simply by existing, shaping destiny, and calling forth individuals to contest for it. When Link defeats Ganon at the climax of the game and touches the Triforce himself, the consequences reveal another aspect of its true power. Link's wish restores the sacred realm from the Dark World back to its golden state. The twisted landscape heals, the poisoned waters clear, people transformed into monsters regain their true forms. But this isn't just reversing damage, it's Link's pure heart using the Triforce's creative power to impose restoration onto a corrupted reality. Just as Ganondorf's evil created the Dark World, Link's goodness recreates the sacred realm. The Triforce responds to his nature and reshapes reality to match it. However, the game's ending hints at something crucial. Even after Link's restoration, the threat isn't permanently gone. Evil will return, the cycle will continue, and this is perhaps the most important revelation about the Triforce's power in A Link to the Past. It doesn't solve problems permanently. It transforms reality according to whoever wields it, but that transformation is only as lasting as the wielder's influence. Ganondorf's corruption of the sacred realm persisted because he was sealed within it, continuously imposing his will through the Triforce. Link's restoration works because his pure heart eliminates that corruption. But the Triforce itself remains, waiting for the next person to claim it, ready to reflect their nature onto reality once again. This creates the cycle that defines Zelda lore. The Triforce's power isn't its ability to grant wishes, it's its ability to make the wielder's inner nature manifest in the physical world. A hero's courage becomes literal reality. A villain's malice corrupts actual space. The artifact doesn't judge or prevent misuse, it simply reflects. And because it reflects so perfectly, so absolutely, it ensures that the struggle for it never truly ends. Evil will always seek the power to impose its will. Good will always rise to prevent that imposition. The Triforce guarantees both. This understanding recontextualizes every subsequent game's portrayal of the Triforce. In Ocarina of Time, when Ganondorf touches the Triforce and it splits into 3 pieces, each piece goes to the individual who most embodies its aspect. Ganondorf receives power because his lust for domination defines him. Zelda receives wisdom because her foresight and knowledge guide Hyrule's defense. Link receives courage because his willingness to face impossible odds marks his nature. The Triforce doesn't split randomly, it recognizes the dominant traits in these 3 individuals and binds itself to them accordingly. This is the Triforce responding to the nature of those who seek it, just as it did in A Link to the Past. The difference is that in Ocarina of Time, Ganondorf only obtains 1 piece of the Triforce, limiting his ability to reshape reality. He can enhance his own power, but he can't transform Hyrule the way he transformed the Sacred Realm in the Downfall timeline. This explains why Hyrule in Ocarina of Time's future timeline suffers but doesn't fundamentally change. Ganondorf lacks the complete Triforce needed to impose his nature onto reality itself. He rules through force and fear, rather than through cosmic transformation. Wind Waker takes this further by showing what happens when someone with a different nature touches the complete Triforce. King Defanis Nona Hansen Hyrule reaches the Triforce before Ganondorf can reclaim it, and his wish is for hope, for Link and Zelda to have a future. The Triforce responds by washing away the old Hyrule entirely, allowing the ocean to complete what it began. This isn't destruction, it's transformation according to the king's desire for renewal and hope. The Triforce once again serves as a medium for imposing will onto reality, and the king's selfless nature creates an outcome entirely different from what Ganondorf's would have produced. Even in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where the Triforce is barely mentioned, its principles remain. Zelda's sealing power, explicitly connected to her lineage and the goddess Hylia, functions similarly to the Triforce. It responds to her nature and her will. When she finally awakens her power in Breath of the Wild, it's because her selfless desire to protect Link overcomes her self-doubt. Her inner nature manifests as divine power. This mirrors exactly how the Triforce operates in A Link to the Past, inner nature becoming external reality through divine medium. The Triforce in A Link to the Past also reveals something about the nature of good and evil in Zelda lore. Evil in this series isn't just about malicious actions, it's about malicious nature imposing itself onto the world. Ganondorf's evil is transformative. It changes everything it touches, corrupting and twisting until nothing good remains. The Dark World isn't just a place Ganondorf rules, it's a place Ganondorf has remade in his image, where his nature is the only nature that matters. Good, represented by Link, is restorative. Link doesn't impose his will onto others, he frees them from imposed will. He doesn't transform people, he allows them to return to their true selves. This fundamental difference in approach defines the eternal conflict. The Triforce amplifies this conflict by giving both sides access to creation-level power. When evil wields it, corruption spreads. When good wields it, healing flows. But the Triforce itself remains neutral, responding only to the nature of whoever claims it. That neutrality makes it both infinitely valuable and infinitely dangerous. There's no safety mechanism, no guardian preventing misuse. The Seven Wise Men sealed the Sacred Realm not because the Triforce is inherently dangerous, but because people are. The artifact will give its power to anyone regardless of their intentions, and that lack of discrimination means it must be kept from those who would abuse it. A Link to the Past shows players what happens when that safeguard fails. The seal breaks, evil reaches the Triforce, and reality itself bends to accommodate that evil. The game doesn't soften this consequence or present it as reversible without extreme effort. Link must gather the Seven Maidens, claim the Master Sword, venture into the Dark World, fight through multiple dungeons filled with Ganon's servants, and finally confront Ganon in direct combat before he can even touch the Triforce to undo the damage. The corruption is thorough, persistent, and requires a hero's full effort to reverse.
This isn't a simple defeat the villain and everything goes back to normal story. It's a tale about how corruption, once established, requires dedicated purification to eliminate. The game's ending, where Link touches the Triforce and the Sacred Realm is restored, raises questions about what Link actually wished for. The game doesn't explicitly state his wish in dialogue, but the results speak clearly. The Dark World becomes golden again. King Hyrule, who died in the opening sequence, returns to life. Link's uncle, seemingly dead in the beginning, appears alive and well. People transformed into monsters regain their original forms. The damage Ganon inflicted on Hyrule reverses. This suggests Link's wish wasn't specific or selfish, it was something general, like restore what was lost or heal what was broken. His pure, selfless nature manifested through the Triforce as comprehensive restoration, undoing not just Ganon's damage, but healing wounds throughout Hyrule's recent history. This demonstrates another aspect of the Triforce's true power. It interprets wishes based on the wielder's nature. Ganondorf didn't explicitly wish for the Sacred Realm to become the Dark World, but his nature was so corrupt that the Triforce created that outcome. Similarly, Link likely didn't make a detailed list wishing everything he wanted restored, but his nature was so aligned with goodness and healing that the Triforce understood and enacted comprehensive restoration. The artifact doesn't just grant literal wishes, it fulfills the deepest desires of whoever wields it, acting on their fundamental nature rather than their stated words. This makes the Triforce something closer to a cosmic therapy session than a magical lamp. It reveals who the wielder truly is by manifesting their inner nature externally. Someone who thinks they're good but harbors selfish desires would see those desires fulfilled regardless of their stated wish. Someone who claims to want justice but craves revenge would get revenge. The Triforce cannot be fooled by false intentions or carefully worded wishes. It responds to the wielder's heart, to their essential nature, and it reshapes reality to match that truth. The Dark World, then, isn't just Ganon's kingdom, it's Ganon's soul made manifest. Every twisted tree, every poisoned lake, every monster wandering its wastes represents some aspect of his malice made real. The Dark World is what Ganon is on the inside, projected onto external reality through the Triforce's power. This is why Link's restoration is so complete, because Link's inner nature is just as thoroughly good as Ganon's was evil. The pure heart creates a pure restoration. This understanding of the Triforce's power explains why the conflict never truly ends. The Triforce can't be destroyed, its divine essence left by the goddesses themselves. It can be sealed away, but seals eventually weaken. It can be hidden, but determined seekers will find it. And as long as it exists, it will call to both the noble and the wicked, promising to make their inner nature into external reality. Heroes will seek it to create good, villains will seek it to impose evil. And the Triforce will respond equally to both, because it doesn't judge, it only reflects. A Link to the Past is the only game that fully embraces these implications. Later titles often present the Triforce as a more benign artifact, something that can be safely wished upon if approached correctly. But A Link to the Past shows the raw danger of divine power in mortal hands. It demonstrates that wishes aren't simple, that power doesn't come with instructions, and that an artifact reflecting inner nature becomes catastrophically dangerous when that nature is evil. The game doesn't shy away from showing players an entire dimension corrupted beyond recognition, people transformed into monsters, and reality itself bent to serve malevolence. The truth about the Triforce's real power in A Link to the Past is that it's not about granting wishes at all, it's about revelation and transformation. The Triforce reveals the true nature of whoever touches it by transforming reality to match that nature. Ganondorf's evil became the Dark World, Link's goodness restored the Sacred Realm. The artifact serves as a divine mirror that forces truth into existence, regardless of whether that truth is beautiful or horrific. And that makes it the most dangerous object in all of Hyrule, because the only thing protecting reality from corruption is keeping evil hands away from divine power, a protection that inevitably fails, requiring heroes to rise and restore what was lost. The cycle continues because the Triforce's nature demands it. As long as the golden triangles exist, reflecting every heart that touches them, the struggle between good and evil will never truly end. That's not a flaw in the system, that's the system working exactly as the goddesses designed it, forcing each generation to prove whether good or evil deserves to shape reality. And in A Link to the Past, players see that system at its most raw, most honest, and most terrifying.